Hello and welcome to Onesies, a podcast of onesies and wonders and blunders. Did
Hi.
Emily leave in the intro? My name's Andrew, and that
My
is
name,
Emily. Oh, I'm speaking
I,
over you. Ooh,
you suck. My name's Emily. Andrew is a white man who speaks over women, and he doesn't support women, as evidenced by not going to that wrestling thing that you should go to
is it
next
tomorrow?
Friday. It's
It's
next
not a
Friday.
work night. I can't. I'm old. I'm older than you. I'm
If
not as
you
old
actually
as you.
supported women and women of color, then maybe you would go. Yeah. Let me tease
Wait a
you.
second. Wait a second, though. It's not a woman, it's not an American woman of color.
Well, she's working in America.
I could, if you want me to support an American woman of color, I can do that like pretty quickly. Like we can just do some mutual aid instead of talking about the fucking show here. That's fine. But this is not actually the podcast where
Where Emily gives
Emily
Andrew shit.
shames me appropriately, but it is the podcast where we are discussing Quark, the 1977 network TV show. I don't know, what
I
was
forget
it?
what network. I forget. It doesn't matter.
It feels like
NBC, ABC,
it doesn't.
CBS.
I don't feel like ABC had sitcoms in the 70s.
I think it's
um
CBS.
yeah, this it feels a little like a CBS, but we're on episode, oh god, 4 or 5.
It is episode 4.
Oh, you want to hear
So
me
sorry.
whine
Yeah,
and
I
whine
don't.
about how many more are there, Emily? How many
I don't.
more?
You
Okay.
said so yourself. This is the second or third best episode we watched, and it's only the fourth episode we watched.
Are you sure it's only the 4th episode? It feels so long.
So IMDb says episode 4. We might. I don't know if that includes the original pilot.
I think it must. Because wait, no, it can't, because the hour-long episode isn't about him wait, is the hour-long episode about him reverting in age?
Yeah,
No. It is?
yeah, I think so.
Oh God. Okay, so yes, this is only the 4th. All right. So this episode opens as ever on the space station. Quark has a
Really quickly, I watched the opening credits for the first time. I loved all the models. So many models of ships used over and over, like 2 or 3 ships, planets. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it.
you
Reminded me of Mystery Science Theater.
you should watch Dark Star.
Okay, maybe we'll see.
What, you don't listen to white men telling you to watch John Carpenter movies you haven't seen, Emily?
This was NBC, by the way.
Okay.
NBC.
NBC, the National Broadcasting Company
Yes, of the United States of America.
of the United States of America. Um,
So, starting on the space station, Quark
yes.
runs into another commander who is an alien, but also bipedal, right?
Yes, he's tall.
He's tall,
He's some sort of a lizardy insect thing, and
fishy, yeah,
13 years old.
much taller than Adam Quark, who we have established is not a tiny little guy.
Right.
He's like 6'1", so this guy must be like 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah. And the joke is, oh, sorry, go.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I won't speak over you.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Um, the joke is that a couple of things. It's multi-layered. Multi-layered, I say. Quark remembers this. What does he say? His name is Ken. His name's Benjamin.
Glenn
No.
or something. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
He calls him by his first name, and his first name is just some standard American male name, right? Glenn or
I
Ken
think
or
it's Freddie.
Freddie, that's what it is. Um, and he remembers Freddie's father. He babysat Freddie when he was just 13 feet tall. And the goof is that this species of being grows in reverse. So he's 13 and he's 6'5", and he's shrinking beautifully, according to Adam. And Freddy is there to get his first sort of mission from the big head.
Yep.
And the two of them, Adam and Freddy, are joined very quickly by some little snotty robot who they call Walker, which I thought was kind of funny, but it's also potentially ableist, even though this is a robot, not a human being. They call him Walker, even though he rolls on wheels. I don't know. That was a dumb little throwaway joke that I found amusing. And they go into the room to get their missions. And Walker gets his mission, which is to like attend some gala event in
Like
place of the big head.
in place of the big head, he's got to go like sniff wine or something. And
Yeah,
I assume the joke is that Walker doesn't have a nose, but Walker's a little prick. Quark tells him that this is why nobody likes him a couple times. And he keeps telling Freddy to stand up straight. Freddy's mission is the to go explore strange new worlds in bold new galaxies for 5 years. He gets the literal Star Trek mission.
yeah,
Um, and Quark's mission is to go to a planet that no one has ever returned from to find out why no one's ever returned. And so it's technically a suicide mission as far as anyone knows. And so we then get that scene where Quark follows Palindrome around and whines about his assignment while Palindrome talks to other aliens, including I believe he like to get out of answering Quark's question, I think he follows the first little furry thing.
yeah,
And then there's another little furry thing later, but it's a
yeah,
different one. Different species. A lot of, sort of post Star Wars alien masks now. We're really
yeah,
sort of into that vibe of Halloween, of latex Halloween masks, just sort of being ubiquitous. And Quark gets the last tape, the last mission tape to play, a little micro mini cassette, because it's the future. And that's the last. So while Quark's whining, Palindrome's like, look, I wouldn't give you the last one if I didn't think you were coming back, would I? And Quark's like, that's right, you wouldn't. And so he goes away after Quark whines about not having a starship, but having a second rate garbage scow.
mm,
And Palindrome again derides the crew of Quark's ship, which is an interesting sort of vibe because it's like, I would assume Quark doesn't hire his crew. That's not usually, I don't believe that's usually how that works. I think you're assigned where you need to go because
yeah,
it's socialism. Actually. So it's just killer socialism. So but then the bit is that the little alien comes up and is like, hey, this is the other furry alien, not the first, not the regular furry alien who has love troubles. This is a new one, I believe,
yeah.
that just has funnier hair or something.
And like weird glasses or something, even though he doesn't have
And
eyes.
Palindrome's like, hey, go get me another, 40 of those suicide mission recordings. Wah,
Yeah, Waka
wah.
Waka.
He lied to
He
poor
lied
Quark. Quark, who has saved the universe
three
three
times.
times? Yeah. He does not save the actual universe this episode, but he does
He destroys men's fantasies, which makes me okay. Makes me feel okay.
that, and he frees an indigenous population, and then he is a really icky, gross bigot.
Yeah.
Actually, at the end, and not about Gene. Gene gets a total pass. There's not
Jean gets a
even,
pass. I mean, except for being like essentially they reveal that Jean oh, I think they could have done something interesting with Jean. We'll get into it.
yeah,
But
but
they didn't.
they didn't. It's a show. So we go back to the ship, where they're getting the mission. Andy the android probably says that he wants to get off the ship. Andy's head is turned so he has eyes this episode, and they keep it that way the whole time, which is interesting. See previous episodes for a discussion on that. But Ficus doesn't care about dying because he's a
He
plant.
has no fear. He has no fear. He doesn't understand fear.
Um, the girls, I think, are just like, we'll do whatever Adam says.
Yeah, we're
And
happy to die for you, Adam.
Gene is fucking thrilled because he's been waiting for a suicide mission forever.
Yeah.
And he finally gets his suicide mission and he is thrilled. But he has to stay on the ship. So we are 3 episodes into like the commission of the series, or this like sort of production run, the post Buck Henry production run. And so we really haven't established, I mean, we've got the intro, right? We get our
Hmm.
mission briefing, but what we don't have is we don't have, it's not established whether or not we're going to hang out on the ship during them going to their mission, right?
Yeah.
Are they going to play 3D chess and try to cheat a Wookiee or whatever? No, they don't. They go immediately there and they beam down. The joke of the beaming down is that Adam ends up in like a
A
swamp.
pond. Yeah.
Yeah. But like the pond is steaming, which is concerning, but he's not worried about that.
Yeah.
Gene has had to stay on the ship. So with Andy, the android, Gene, after his initial complaints, reverts to his um after Gene's male persona's initial complaints, Gene's female persona pipes in that she'll just chill out and do her nails and maybe catch up on her book of the month because
Her
ladies.
letters. Her
Sorry, her
letters.
letters. I'm
She's gonna
sorry.
write some
Okay.
letters.
Why the fuck couldn't Jean, the female, been the science officer, the medical officer, and we actually had like a she has some behaviors to do and not act like a fucking like the shitty neighbor in a movie about housewives from 1949. She acts
Yeah.
like the town, she not quite the town gossip, but like the town spinster in fucking A Letter to Three Wives or some shit. Like it's really annoying. Because it's a waste of fucking time. It's a like this does not get the right they
And
don't
there's other opportunities later for them to develop the female side of Jean, but all they seem to be focused on is the male Jean who is a petulant child and wants to like let me at him, let me at like he's Scrappy Doo. He just wants to like run headfirst into a fight all the time.
yeah. And
But
it's just
Jean the female does not have any personality
or
or personhood even.
there you go. Which just makes it like it makes it a bad
It
bit.
yeah, it it mm, it makes it the joke, right? Like
Right.
the joke is that occasionally he has a female voice and
Yeah.
does womanly things, and it's
Yeah.
just not that great.
No. So we get down to the planet. Quark shakes his head about having to walk for something. I couldn't figure out what the implication was. I think the implication might have been that it was Gene's fault that he transported him wrong or something, but I don't know. It really doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter.
So they walk along. There's an immediate quick cut of somebody running across the frame. You can barely see it. Quark's like, hey, Ficus, what was that? And Ficus is like, that thing that we only saw for 24 of 30 frames in the last thing? And he's like, yes. And Ficus is like, well, based on my limited blah, 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 that he gives a perfect description and then like identifies the guy or something. Or he doesn't identify the guy by
Not
name,
perfectly.
but then
Yeah,
he
he's like, because I
will.
only saw him for 10 milliseconds.
Yeah, but then in a little bit, he'll identify him by name, and it's stupid. Just had an idea for remaking Quark. You are going
Okay.
to hate it,
Oh, good.
but you are going to have to agree that it is possible. Matt Berry plays most, if not all, of the roles. I want to hear him give Ficus's dialogue. Like, it's not going to be like sublime, but it'll be better than most of what we do in the shadows, and it'll be better than Toast of Hollywood.
Oh God, anything's better than Toast of Hollywood.
Oh, be nice. The Orson Welles homage was legit. Be nice. Look at that scowl. It's just because Fred Armisen's ball sack was in it.
You mean Bill Hader? Yeah. That was the perfect setup. I fucking hate that guy.
Ah,
Okay. I'm leaving that in. I hope that gets transcribed. I hope he Googles his own name. Um,
he Googles his own name. I'm sure he'd. I mean, come on. Come on. Both of them. That's,
I don't even hate Fred Armisen as much as I hate, like, whatever. Stop, stop, stop. This is about Quark. Matt Berry could remake it and play all the characters, and it would not be good. Um, I
continue.
love um two silvery guys jump out of nowhere. They're kind of filmed in weird slow motion. They're sort of doing weird slinky movements with their body.
That's called
And
dancing. They're white men dancing. Be
and
nice. Seductively.
the Bettys are taken immediately
Exactly.
by these two masked men, and they jump in and also writhe around on the screen in something that is supposed to look like dancing. Um, and then in the worst cuts in history, they cut directly to the silver mask and it's lifted up and it's Adam Quark. And then he pulls it back down and then they cut to the other guy. I'm using finger quotes. And he pulls off the mask from the other side and it's Adam Quark. So these two Bettys could identify these masked men as Adam Quark, and they are taken and they dance and dance and dance, and they are madly and passionately in love with these looky likeys. Um, in the meantime, Ficus and Adam, like, they question it, obviously, like what the hell's going on, but they don't seem to be worried at all. Except I guess that they they transport the Bettys back onto the ship.
So
And then the Bettys charm Andy into transporting them back down. And he says, no, I can't do that. It's a bit. And they make some weird sexual innuendo to him that convinces him that he should just do what they say. And he transports them back down where they continue to dance with the alien guys. But the aliens in the original transport, beam them up, also go fuzzy. I thought they were going to get transported onto the ship, but they don't. When the Bettys get transported back down, they jump in from either side of the screen and start dancing again. That was really weird. I was hoping that they would be transported on the ship and then take it over or something, like some kind of hostile takeover.
there'd be
That is
something
not this
interesting that would
show.
happen. That is not that is not this show.
That is not the show. Instead, Ficus and Quark continue to walk along a road and meet other scientists and commanders who have gone missing.
And so, also while walking on the road, Quark has visions of a woman running toward him in a white dress.
Right.
Ficus gives no indication of seeing this person. Quark never directly references it to Ficus. It
Mm-mm.
is either a failure of direction or writing or acting or a combination of all three. It is annoying as fuck. Quark is actually, despite this being kind of Richard Benjamin's least, his second best, well, there's some asterisks about his better turns on this show so far. But despite this being his best leading man thing, he somehow manages to be less interesting than everything else, which is a lot because everything else is really fucking boring.
Yeah.
So the scientist that they saw running, who's making out with some young girl,
He's
um,
German, and you can tell that not only because he has a German accent, but he's got the flag of Germany is making his collar on his lab coat. Did you notice that? It was very clever. Very clever.
oh, because Ficus knew he was of German descent. I believe. Maybe. Well, it's a great show, Emily. I changed my mind. Let's watch it over again.
Well, you'll be happy to know with that snide remark that IMDb did not include the original pilot that we watched. And so this is technically episode 5 of 8. So we're one episode closer to being done than you thought.
Thank you, Emily. Okay,
You're welcome.
so
It makes my job to make white men feel better.
I mean, do you want to survey white men on that? Because I'm fairly sure you don't want to see the results. I mean, I think you could probably get. Well, wait, hold on. We know how many white women you could get. 54%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Okay, so but it's okay because that would be at least 72% of white men or whatever. So, don't trust any white men. And only trust 46% of a white woman. Sorry.
No, it's
Uh,
fine.
you're one of us now, Emily. You're one of us. Moving on to the show, which now has them going down this road that never matters as a road
No, so
because
so the German guy explains that there's this thing, the Timbus, the Limbus, the somethingus, that they need to find because that is causing whatever weirdness is happening.
the German guy is not telling them that to have them like resolve their mission. He's having them do that
Um,
to get brainwashed.
okay.
Okay. So as they continue walking, what's his face? Quark probably sees running chick again.
Mm-hmm.
But then Ficus sees a sexy teacher doing some equations on a blackboard, and he just can't resist to go over and talk equations. And so we will not come back to it, but throughout the episode, we are going to cut back to Ficus and this teacher saying equations to each other. She becomes aroused, and it is strongly implied. I don't know, he lays bark or whatever you would call it.
Lays down his roots.
Yes,
Gross.
we got some more
No,
merch.
I did not get the implication that they fucked because he's too like meh to fuck.
When
Spock probably did, but whatever. But like she's like letting her hair down, but it's like really, it's like British. It's like very
I thought they
like
were
right on the
smoking
cusp of being
cigarettes at the
lust.
end. I thought they were
Oh, I
smoking.
don't
I
remember
don't
that.
know. Okay. Yeah. It's. I mean, it's fairly tame. All of it's actually fairly tame, despite the fact that I think no, there was more cleavage in that episode you really liked, but Quark's lady love
Yeah,
interest has a lot of cleavage going. We don't really objectify the Bettys in this one, but
not really.
that's
I mean, they're just slowly shaking their booties,
yeah,
but but it's not attractive. I mean, it looks weird and awkward
and silly.
because it's slow
Um,
motion. It's very
okay,
weird.
so that is what Ficus is going to be doing throughout the episode. Gene is watching all of this on the viewfinder upstairs in the spaceship far above.
Yes.
He then decides that, well, no, wait, hold on.
No, wait, hold on. So, Quark finds this woman that he's been seeing, and she's lovely. She looks like a character from Doctor Who, whatever. She's lovely, and he's like, "Have I met you before?" And then they just like lock lips, and pretty much for the rest of the time they don't stop kissing. But it's that like 70s TV kissing. It's nothing, no wet noises, thank God. Um, and he will event like a few times like move his mouth away from her to talk. And this is where Gene is watching, and he's like, God damn it, we're on a mission. The commander's distracted. I need to go down. And he convinces Andy to beam him down. He goes racing to Quark's aid, but as he approaches Adam Quark, these three aliens come out from nowhere and start shooting at them. And it is discovered that these aliens are actually these fictional aliens from a TV show that Gene watched as a kid and he idolized. And there was a hero a la Flash Gordon, right, who was going to save uh, the world from these aliens. So they're just now kind of waiting for this Flash Gordon character to show up. And in the meantime, Adam and his lady love are making out. Does Adam eventually recognize her? Or is that later that he
That is
recognizes
during
her?
all of this. He
Okay.
recognizes her as some
Someone in cadet school, cadet org.
yeah, like, but not a cadet. Was she? I think she was the lady love interest of one of his male classmates. So we're regressing a little bit there.
Yeah.
But basically she's like she tells him what's up, which is basically that like I'm your fantasy come to life. I'll do whatever you want, blah blah blah. And he's like, "Well, I mean, you're not real though. What if I went and I got the real one?" And she's like, "You can't." And he's like, "Why not?" And she's like, "Dude, she totally married your friend. He's so much, but he's Henry Cavill. Come on." So Quark's like, "Well, cool then. Yeah, this is worth it because like I will fuck a robot or whatever. Like,
Right. And in the meantime, though, he does realize that there's something on the planet that is because Ficus had told him there's something on the planet controlling men's minds.
yes.
And so
Well,
he
it's
makes the connection that this woman is just the object of my fantasies.
yeah, and
She's not real.
which she then verifies. But
Yeah.
also, it's everyone's fantasies because they just hadn't had any ladies there before. But they do have the ladies who are there for fulfilling their fantasies. The twins or the clones are fulfilling their fantasy of having two Richard Benjamins, which I am sure is exactly
Everybody's
what
fantasies
ladies want.
just sex. And
Except,
Ficus and Gene.
no, Gene, which is now where we
So
are.
so this is where they could have had like dueling fantasies, male
Mhm,
Gene's fantasies of
mhm,
this like outer
mhm,
space adventure, and female Gene, you could have like at least given her an inner life,
mhm.
something, even if it is related to big hogs or something. Like I don't even there's nothing there. It's only Gene's fantasy. God damn it, they could have done that. Instead of the ficus teacher thing, it could have just been like, listen, he's a plant, he doesn't have emotions. He's not going to be swayed by any of this.
Or
But
he like goes and stands in a field and waves with other trees, like a willow grove or something, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
we played
That would have
that,
been a stupid thing that would have been fun.
and they
But
wouldn't have had to come back to.
and they wouldn't have had to keep coming back to it. And or he could have just like, nope, I'm going to go solve this mission. I'm going to be the person who does this because
Right.
all of these other people are succumbing to their stupid human brains.
It's probably in
But that
Richard
doesn't happen.
Benjamin's contract. He can't lose a fight. Richard Benjamin's the rock of this. It's like there ain't no Vin Diesel of Quark, just Richard Benjamin. Um, so yes, there's like this lengthy fight scene with Gene running around.
The
Pause.
hero,
Pause
yes.
before the hero. Let's go back up to the spaceship to check in on Andy.
All right.
Andy has called up a female robot and he wants to be her boyfriend or something. And she's like, "No, Andy, you fucked that machine down in the basement of your ship."
No,
It's
it
the
was the
Betties.
Betties.
Yes.
It was the
And so
Betties.
then he starts having Freudian slips where he continuously refers to her as Betty. We will
Right.
come back to that at least one time before we come back to it again for the finish, which is him saving Quark from having to. Jesus, it's so gross. Okay, we'll get to it.
I'm gonna punch up that scene really quickly. I think it would have been funnier if he, instead of saying, "Oh, that was a Freudian slip," which he did say, if he said like it was a Lacanian slip, or just like throw in some other. Yeah, okay, never mind. Okay,
Is that a smart word?
It is a smart word. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Wow.
sorry.
Okay. Guess somebody's a little bit better read than the other host. All right. Uh
Sorry, I didn't make you feel less than, did I?
oh, well,
Oh no. That's okay. You run the world, white man.
it's
You
okay.
run the
I
world.
will record a 45-minute monologue about how that was an inappropriate use of that term that you could include after this episode. Or I won't, because you could just tell us what it means too, Emily. You could educate us.
I could, but I'm not here to do that. He was another psychoanalyst,
Oh,
Jacques
well,
Lacan. It's
I
just,
wish it.
it's literally like the cheapest joke,
Oh,
but smart.
um, I thought it was like, what if it was like a robotics guy? Like,
Oh
what
no.
if he had been like, I made a
Robotics guy slip.
robotics guy? Doesn't matter. Because there aren't any robotics guys that would work with. Anyway, they would call it a Hawking slip on Star Trek: The Next Generation, I'll bet, because they were starfuckers.
Well,
So,
the man who is considered the father of robotics is Joseph F. Engelberger. So that's not like that doesn't roll off the tongue.
Engelbergian slip, I mean, it would cause
Engelbergian
pause.
slip.
It would cause pause. But anyway,
It'd be
it
something
would.
you'd have to Google, and Google was not invented in
It also
1978.
would be an example of personality, which this show does not. Okay, so while Andy's doing that, Gene is running. They're running from the three stormtrooper guys, and Quark, in the middle of making out with the girl, is like, "What the fuck is going on, Gene?" And Gene's like, "These are the bad guys from Captain Space Hero," and or he's like, "These are the bad guys from Rangers Laser or something." And Quark pauses and is like, "Isn't that a kid's show?" And
Yeah,
then we immediately run into a superhero, a blonde-haired superhero
bad wigged hoop superhero.
who will then fight with these guys.
The
With
blazers blast right off of his chest. Like
yeah,
this is proper superhero.
and Gene is like excited to be fighting alongside him.
Yeah.
Quark is like, hold on, this is kind of too fucked up. We got to go see about the Limbiticus or whatever. As the lady begs him not to do these things, to investigate. He gets to the Limbiticus, which is a monolith type looking thing. I
It's
think
covered in a tarp.
budget.
Yeah.
They did shoot outside a lot in this one. It was pretty.
Yeah,
I
they
was
did.
pretty impressed that they got to go on location so much. Did a terrible high Averbeck's directions, god awful, but they did get to go outside.
Yeah.
Um, Très excitement. Um, so as the woman pleads with Quark to not destroy the thing, he destroys the thing. She then becomes a woman covered in gray mud. Um, it's a different actress. It is still very obviously an
Is it a
attractive.
different actress?
It is.
Okay.
I believe so. Didn't you think it was a different actress?
I thought it was the same.
Whatever.
Whatever.
It's the point is it's still a traditionally attractive um
Yes.
lady,
Just covered in mud,
just covered in mud.
which some men are into. Let's be
Well,
honest.
let's continue with the little bit here because she's like, "Oh my God, you saved me. My that's a Gorgon. The Gorgons found out about our planet where we are like shapeshifter and we can, become anything we want. And the Gorgons,
We can change into anything we want that gives other people pleasure. Remember, all the whole thing
oh,
is about using this power for good. They only use it for good, but the Gorgons harnessed it to use it for
to
evil.
keep the men captured, and the Bettys. So in doing so, Quark has returned this woman's ability to, consent to her existence, and she would like to get wild and freaky with him, and he responds with utter disgust, and it is really fucking weird. Even leaving out that, having just talked it through, yes, she could become whatever he desires during their
Yeah.
thing. He behaves like like, the joke is obviously that Captain Kirk made 6 kids there or something, right? Like, but Quark is just like, that is fucking gross. I am a racist. You didn't realize that? But it's okay. I babysit for aliens. So
But the way because we're looking at it through a modern lens and da 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 da. I mean, really, like she kisses him, and then his face is just covered in mud. So while it's not problematic, it's also like I don't like mud. I don't want to be covered in mud.
you don't know what the consistency of space mud is from a shapeshifter. I mean,
That's true.
like, it's also just weird because it's not played by, he's not acting off of a mask. He's acting off of an actress,
An
possibly the same
actress, yeah,
actress that he's been, sucking lips with
the whole
um,
time,
the
yeah.
whole episode. And it's just, it's a very bad look for Quark. It's very
Yes,
unsympathetic for
it's
him.
very unsympathetic, and
And
especially again, since like you said, he's been locking lips with her the whole time.
he needs, and I mean, the story itself is like, just like, you know, anyway. Uh I bet Captain Kirk would have hooked up with her on the cartoon.
Oh, 1000%.
Okay. So we then, interesting point, just gonna throw this out there for all of the very interested listeners, gonna drop a little knowledge on you. Sulu, in the comic book that continued in the 80s, got hot for the cat girl from the cartoon. Like, they were on their way to a romance. Okay.
Hmm.
And then that got dropped when the comic book came back, probably because whatever. Well, I don't know. I'm curious about the life of a license regulator, like a franchise license regulator, the person who has to sign off on all your licensed products. I wonder how. I think the vibe was is that they weren't down with that
Hmm.
subplot. Anyway, back to the show at hand. Um,
I've just confirmed it's the same actress.
okay, thank you. Which makes it worse because it's the same face. Okay, there are showers in space, Quark, if you really need to deal with that shit. Also, anyway, we're not getting into the science of the fake shape shifting, even though I want to, because I think that if she transformed, wouldn't that transform as well? Because it's magic clay or shape
Yeah,
shifting stuff. So, I mean, who knows? Whatever. Okay. So we go back to the ship because, and that's when Quark's like, beam me up, Andy. Oh my God, beam
yeah.
me up. Oh my God, I think it moved. Beam me up. And Andy's like, I have to go. Eileen, I love you.
Mandy. Her
Mandy,
name is
I love you so
Mandy.
much. Betty, I mean, Mandy, I have to go. The captain needs me. And that's like it, except we have the crew back on board, and there's some comment about Ficus enjoying his time on the planet because he got to lay lay root, right? And Quark is
Do
covered
math.
in
He got
mud.
to do math. Did we
And Quark,
mention that they are just doing math the whole time?
yeah, except for
Okay.
when I think she strips down
Yeah.
and they have a poist, you know what I mean. Um, so anyway,
Post coital cigarette.
yes, possibly. They might not
Hmm.
have a cigarette. I don't know. Police Squad would have the cigarette. But that was a good show. So what we're saying is smoke. Um,
I
I
just
mean,
watched a French movie this week from the 60s, and there is nothing cooler than people smoking, but it's disgusting and it smells and it's awful, but it's so cool.
So I have a 5 minute tangent I could go on about old timey cigarettes right now, but we're gonna skip it for the folks, and we're gonna wrap up, and then the episode ends, and whatever. I don't think maybe Andy makes another joke. It doesn't. Nothing matters.
Nothing matters anymore. Nope. And um then next week's episode, if I remember correctly, is part one of two.
Which leads us to our wonderful question: do we just want to do both of them?
Oh. All the Emperor's Quasi Norms Part One. Quark expects to be on a goodwill mission, but it turns out he's just picking up garbage as usual. But Quark and his crew are captured by Zorgons. Wait. Oh,
Zorgons.
no. Zorgon the Malevolent, the most vicious Gorgon.
Okay.
Okay. Space. Ooh, gross. There's a character called Princess Libido, who falls in love with Ficus. Oh God, this is going to be amazing. I'd say we can probably watch both, right? I don't want to read any more about this.
Yeah, let's just do it. And then we've only got
Okay.
one left after that. So
Yeah.
next week,
So next week we'll be watching episodes 5 and 6 or 6 and 7, depending on how you're watching it. All the Emperor's Quasi Norms, parts 1 and 2 are what we'll be watching. Very exciting stuff. Looking forward to it.
based upon your experience with this show, you like the episodes where there's a princess who wants nothing but to get down with one of the incredibly attractive men.
Well, I'm sex positive, so
there you go.
if she's down to pound and she's not getting shit for it from men like you, I guess I'm okay with it. I love this. Andrew, see you next week when we talk about the next 2 episodes of Quark. I don't remember what they're called. See you in Television Land.
See you in Television Land.